Right, everyone, welcome to a little roll it out session. So, like we talked about before, today we're going to start using a little bit more implements than just the foam roller. So, for this first section of the roll it out, we're going to start using either a lacrosse ball, a tennis ball. If you have a baseball, racket balls don't really work. Golf balls do kind of work. So, if you don't have a ball but you know where you have one, take a moment real quick, go grab that ball because we're going to do some fun stuff with the ball today. All right, but if you have the foam roller, we'll also still be foam rolling a little bit as well. The idea, what we're trying to do is we're trying to work on myofascial release techniques to increase flexibility in the fascia, to decrease muscle knots, or we call myofascial bundles. In trying to decrease that, we, in essence, decrease some pain, some trigger points. We'll get into trigger points a little bit and make our everyday lives a little bit better because we move better, we feel better, all that stuff works out, correct? Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to go get a small ball if you haven't yet. We're going to start with the feet. We're going to start standing. I have a chair here just in case if you're not comfortable with the balance of on a ball, you can have a seat and you can do the same thing. But what we're going to start is we're going to start with our slow rolling. All right, or actually I'm going to start with compression. So you're going to take your foot and you're going to take the ball of your foot and you're just going to push down nice and light. Now, again, if you're in a seat that's a little bit more comfortable, that's fine. But we're going to push down on that 4 times here. This should be number 3 for me and number 4. Now what I want you to do is I want you to move that to the arch of the foot, and now we're just going to lightly push down. 1, you can see my heel rests, and then I push down on it. 2, and we're working on compression first. 3, good. 4, if you have like a golf ball or even a lacrosse ball, it may be a little harder. 5, and this is a lacrosse ball, you just wouldn't go as hard, right? You just wouldn't step completely on it. Tennis ball has a little more give that I'm using here, so I'm able to step on it a little more. Now, last one. Now we'll put our foot down and the heel, and then we're just going to put pressure on that heel. So I'm just shifting all the weight to the heel. And again, if you have a harder ball, just don't shift all the weight. But if you can, just stepping up on that with the ball under the heel. Good. 2, 3, and 4. Great compression on that. Now, you're going to take the ball, and we're just going to roll it around in mini circles. Again, if you need more pressure, you can sit and push down. And what we're trying to do is basically we're rolling in circles, and sometimes I use a foam roller if you have your foam roller around. We're rolling in little circles around the foot. Compressing the feet, really good for us, right? We're on our feet, not as much as we want to be, but when we're on our feet, we want to make sure their usage is very good. Releasing this is going to increase a little bit of myofascial resistance, or decrease the resistance, and it's going to increase hydration. Is where I was going with that. Now let's go under the top of the foot, little rolls there, back and forth, up and back. Now let's go to the heel a little bit, so you can put the toe down. So if you see from this angle, put the toe down, as long as you don't kick it out. I start doing too many things at once. All right, there we go. So, and you're just gonna kind of a little roll like this. This is what we call kneading. We're not really rolling over the ball. We're pushing the ball into the foot and we're rolling on the ball. All right, so now one more time, I want to start from the toe and just roll to the heel. Good, start from the toe, roll to the heel. Excellent. Try to keep a hold of that ball. Now you can do this barefoot. I more or less put some darker socks on just so you can see the bright ball a little bit better. So it's just like this. Just like this, good. Couple more here. If you're using the lacrosse ball, you certainly can. The type of ball doesn't matter here. It's just knowing that if it's a harder surface ball like a lacrosse ball, then you're going to have to go a little softer on that foot. All right, let's go ahead and go to the other foot. All right, so we'll start with those compressions right at the top of the foot, right? Let me go side view this time so you can see. Right at the top of the foot, I'm pushing down on it. If it's the lacrosse ball, I'm not doing a full push, right? I'm just going to do kind of a small push, just like that. If it's a tennis ball, going all the way down on it. So it just depends on the ball you have. You can have that foam roller for balance if you have one with you, or use the back of a chair, or you can be seated. One more here. Now let's go to the arch of the foot. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff, right? That's that plantar fascia wrapping around in the arch. Good, good, good. 2 more here. And last one. Now let's go to the heel. Toe down, put that pressure. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Those circles now in the arch first, right? Little circles. You can go side to side. You can go up and down. If you can find those circles, that's great. And I'm just going to move over to the lacrosse ball here. I like doing the kneading a little bit more with a harder surface ball like a lacrosse ball. But again, in the very beginning, tennis ball may be perfect. Good. Let's go ahead and go to the top of the foot. Just over, back and forth. Just trying to roll around all parts of the toe, of the foot. You don't really need to get on the toes. They're an extension of the foot. They're getting that hydration through the flexor tendons in the foot. So if we open this up, we'll move that hydration through. And then the heel, just back and forth like we talked about before. Seems very simple, very trivial, but this is a really good technique to try and move water through, move hydration, if you will, or water through the fascia. The more hydration we get, the easier the fascia is to move and be flexible. All right, let's go ahead and do our push forward and back. And this is something you can kind of get used to, this kind of routine. You can get used to it just sitting in a chair watching TV. You can stand up and watch TV too, right? So you don't have to be doing anything major. You can do this at your desk during the day. Stand up for a little bit, start rolling the ball under your feet. It's a really good exercise, and you could do this up to 3 times a day realistically without, really putting any major flexibility woes. So if we did like 20 times, what's going to happen is we're just going to make it too pliable. And then we kind of set ourselves up for the opposite, where we're too pliable. So now we have too much range of motion. Very, very hard to do that. So, I mean, like I said, you have to do it like 20 times a day. But so you could do this throughout the day to keep everything going. All right, we worked on those feet. Let's take the balls now. I want to come up to the chest and possibly the back here. So for the chest, I'm going to just use the lacrosse ball a little brighter, I think. And what we're going to do is we're going to have that ball. So think of a clavicle. Clavicle's up here, right? It goes down into the nipple area, that kind of triangle. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're going to roll. We're going to take one hand, push on that ball, and we're just going to roll just like this. If that's not enough pressure, take your other hand and apply that pressure. Just small little rolls, folks. Just little circles. We're not looking for major things. It's just these little circles like this. All right. And then when you've done that a couple times, just move up a little bit. Go right under the clavicle bone. So we have that big triangle to work with. Chest is a big part. This is going to be a big section too, right here. That like corner slot right in there. You're going to feel a little tender there. Now, as I've mentioned before in our sessions of foam rolling, chest is very important. If we don't roll the chest out, it keeps rolling us over in bad posture. So rolling the chest is very important. Good. Let's go ahead and switch it over to the other side now. Take that ball, find that position. Now, the other thing that you can do, if you finally get to this area and you're like, all right, I've been rolling and this isn't helping anymore, is you can use a wall. You can actually put yourself between the wall and the ball, and you can actually push against that wall. This is the extreme version, and usually you're going to feel that pretty consistently. If you feel this, just stick with this right now. You don't have to jump to the wall. But if you're doing this and you're like, I don't feel anything, go ahead and go to that wall. Especially if you may be using a tennis ball. The tennis ball maybe not as heavy, right? You may not feel the tennis ball as much. You should, but you may not. You could go to the wall and use the tennis ball on the wall. Totally fine. And yeah, don't be afraid to find those areas. Whenever we're doing some of these areas, let's say I find a really knot, or I find what we call a trigger point. Trigger point is something when I hit this, I feel it up my neck, right? It shoots up my neck or it shoots down my back. That's a trigger point. That's a myofascial knot that's pulling on the rest of the fascia that's giving us pain in a referred area somewhere else. So we call that a trigger point. And so we're going to hit those trigger points, and those are fine. They're not going to hurt us. They're not going to ruin a nerve ending or anything like that. They're literally fascia. We're not getting any lower than fascia, so that's okay. When you find that trigger point, don't be afraid to find it. Push down on it, hold it for 3, 2, 1, and then release and roll again. All right, open up those chest muscles. I always like to get a quick stretch. We can reach behind and just open up that chest, right? pull it. If you're in a doorway, right? A doorway stretch is really good. You just put those hands in the doorway. You can do one at a time, but opening up that chest. We've rolled it. 3, 2, 1. Kind of relax it. Just a quick 10-second roll over here. Does it feel a little bit better maybe? And you feel the same, that's okay. And then over here, little roll. But hopefully when we finish these, you should feel like you got a little bit more opened up. All right, let's talk about the back a little bit. We've done some foam rolling on the back. If you have a wall close to you, I want to talk about using the wall here. I'll go down to the ground. So if you don't have a wall, what I want you to do is just hang on 1 second. We'll go to the ground and talk about this next. But the wall, when using the wall, and apologies, I'm just going to shift you guys over so you can actually see the wall. When you're using the wall, what you're going to do is you're going to place the ball just behind the back, and you can. I'm just opening up for effect, and I got to run away, so apologies there. This happens all the time. So, especially when you're trying to show. All right, so what we're doing is we're putting, and I'm just moving my shoulders so you can see the ball back there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to step out just a hair. You see, I started like this, lean forward to get the ball back there. Another trick you can do is either a shopping bag, a plastic shopping bag, or some kind of netting. You can put that in the ball so you can hold it and you can actually control where the ball goes. From here, we want to be just above the shoulder blade here, and we want to just be going small up and down, and then we can go back and forth. You're going to feel right away any of those knots in there, especially using a lacrosse ball. It's a lot harder of a surface, but using the tennis ball, you're still going to feel it. So we can do small circles. We can do big up and downs, back and forth. You're going to feel like even like you find a little knot that you're rolling over. It feels like a big, big old muscle that you're rolling over. Those are those myofascial knots that we're talking about. Now the ball may travel up, and the easy solution is put your butt back against, lean forward a little bit, let the ball, right? You can see the ball travel down. Ooh, I got it in time that time. All right, so you just let the ball travel down, and then you go a little lower. Now we go under the shoulder blade or right next to the shoulder blade, releasing all of the back. Okay, now if you're using the wall, I want you to go ahead and keep going. All right, I'm going to show the folks in case you were on the floor. If you're, like I said, if you're not on the floor, or if you have a wall that you're using, just keep working on that. If you don't have a wall, this is a very simple solution, right? You can make a wall on the ground. All right, so what we're going to do is this just takes a little bit more placement, right? So I'm going to move my body until I feel that knot. And then what I'm going to do, I'm not going to lay all the way down on it, like lay everything out. I am right now, but you don't really need to do that because you'll feel those trigger points shoot everywhere. So what you would do is you just support the neck here and just small movements, just like we were on the wall. The beauty of this one is you can actually move your hand around, right? Because when you're moving your shoulder, you're moving the scapularis, the subscapularis, some of the rotator cuff muscles there, and you're moving some of those rear deltoids. And this will actually, you'll feel like that trigger point, you'll feel where it goes, but you'll also be working it out. Now, with on the ground, all you have to do is you have to move your body around instead of just going forward and let the ball hit. You just have to move your body around. If you feel a trigger point and you can handle it, you can just lay back real quick, 3, 2, 1, and then come back up to small rolls. Okay, so we've done this before with the foam roller. Today we're just focusing with that ball because we're going to get more focused areas. You'll notice already that with the foam roller, you felt it felt good. With this one, it's a little more painful, right? It's just a little tad more painful than when we were just using the foam roller. And the idea is that we're really isolating the knots with the lacrosse ball. Let's go ahead and switch the side if you haven't yet. Let's go to the other side. So I'll just turn this way. And so again, just if you're on the wall, you're just putting it on the other side. If you're on the ground, feel free to try both. See which one you're more comfortable with. You know, maybe the ground is just easier for you. That's totally fine. Just make sure you support the neck. A lot of us stay up here leaving it hanging, and then we end up with a stiff neck as we're trying to roll our shoulders out. So make sure we support the neck. It only usually needs one. Remember, you can move up and down. Find those knots. Once you find those knots, like I right now, I'm rolling over just a little lump. And it's what we call a myofascial knot. And I feel it shoot all the way up the back of the neck. And that's just telling me that that's that trigger point. And if I work on that just a little bit, it starts to subside. And basically what it's doing is it's releasing that tension up the neck. So when you go to sit at your desk or do anything else, now that tension's not going to be pulling on your neck as much. So it's definitely a good thing. And you may not get everything out in that first roll of all these knots, and that's okay. What we're looking for is to start consistently work on that myofascial release. All right, let's keep on that right side. We were on the left side for a while. We're going to go another 1 minute here, and then we're just going to finish with a very quick leg and upper back roll with the foam roller. So go ahead and you guys keep going on that upper back. Hopefully that feels good on that right upper back. All right. Excellent. Let's go ahead and put that ball down. Now, we stretched the chest before. A good, simple back exercise is to clasp the hands together. Just rotate them, fold them, and you're not trying to reach up. You're trying to actually roll down, right? Like roll the shoulders over. Bad posture roll, right? And you're trying to stretch those shoulders out. Another thing is if you have like a pole in the basement or something that you can hold on to, you could hold and then let that sit back, right? So I could just sit back. But this is a good one for right now. Good. 3, 2, 1. Open the chest up, back forward. Hopefully that feels a little bit better today. Okay. Let's really quickly come down. Let's finish some foam rolling. If you have the foam roller with you, we're going to use all sorts of things. I'll start increasing some of the myofascial tools that we've got. They're all very simple to find and get. All right. Quick calf here. We're going to go 5 rolls. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the other side. So we can do a real quick 4-minute roll with just 5 rolls on each section. 3, 4, 5. Good. Let's go to the hamstrings. So we'll go single leg again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Let's switch the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very good. Let's go ahead and get the quads. Turn it around. Thighs on the foam roller. We're going to go just double legs here. You can put the legs up if you want. 1, 2, or you can keep them straight. 3, 4, and 5. Excellent job. So from here, we're going to put the back down. Mid back. Remember how we did this one? Feet flat, bridge up, and rolling. Now, hopefully this feels a little bit better after we did some of that myofascial release tension with the lacrosse or tennis ball or whatever ball we have. Go ahead and open up the shoulder here and see if that feels a little bit better than the last times you've done it. Does it feel like you open that up a little bit more? Well, let's go switch to the right side. Good. 5 more rolls here. We're doing a little bit more because it's the back. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, last one. Let's take care of the butt, the glutes. Right? We're gonna cross the leg and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go ahead and switch it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. Go ahead and come up from there. Folks, hopefully we released a little bit more. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about your feet today, about rolling on those, rolling the chest and back. I want you to take some of these techniques and try them on a daily basis. These are not just a once a week kind of thing. If we do them daily, we'll start feeling better. We'll start increasing flexibility, increasing mobility, and it only gets better from there. Next week, we'll do a little bit more hips and glutes, but thanks for joining me today, guys. Roll it out. We'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.